we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, and we'll have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Gatewood,
Here.
Councilmember Pulapati, here. Councilmember Sander,
David.
I'm here.
Okay.
Vice Mayor
I
Budge,
heard Pulapati, but not Sander.
Here.
Mayor Terry,
Here. Looks like we have a quorum. With that, we'll move on to item 2, and I'll ask the city clerk to announce the meeting video recording and playback schedules, please.
The meeting of the Rancho Cordova City Council will be cablecast on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T Uverse cable systems. The meeting is closed captioned and webcast at The meeting is closed captioned and webcast at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting will air Friday, February 25th at 6 p.m. and Sunday, February 27th at 9 a.m. The meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/MetroCable14. A DVD copy can also be ordered from the City Clerk's Department, and a webcast of this meeting will also be available on the city's website within 48 hours of adjournment of this meeting.
Thank you. And with that, we'll move on to the Pledge of Allegiance, which, since she showed up in person, I'll ask my colleague, Councilmember Pulapati, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd ask the remaining public and the rest of us to remain standing so that we can have an invocation by Dan Deschong with the River City Christian Church.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor Terry, I don't see that Dan has joined us via Zoom, and I don't see him in the council chambers.
Let's just go ahead and take a moment of silence. Thank you all.
Mayor Terry, I see that Sherry DeJong has her raised hand. I'm guessing that might be Dan. Can I invite him?
Let's go there and
Thank
give
you.
it a shot. Sure. Hi, Sherry. If you want to unmute and if you want to go ahead and do the invocation, you can at this time. Or if that is Dan on Sherry's device.
Hello, I'm glad I could make it for Dan. He's out of town, and so I'm standing in for him. I'm on the prayer team of our church, so I enjoy the privilege of being able to pray, especially for our wonderful city of Rancho Cordova. So would you all bow your heads and pray a brief prayer with us? Oh, dear God, we just thank you for the privilege of being able to gather tonight here in this wonderful country and this wonderful city of Rancho Cordova. We pray for blessings abundant upon the mayor and the various city council members who are here tonight, and all those who are in attendance. Bless the agenda that they have to tackle before them. We pray for them to have clarity in what they hear, ears to hear, and just the wisdom that it takes to keep things going in this wonderful city of guide us in this meeting so that the results will be seen days, months, and even years to come. And so, God, we thank you. We pray for a very productive meeting, and we pray that it would all be honoring to you and to our city of Rancho Cordova. In Christ's name, amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Sherry.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Let's see, with that, we will move on to presentations, and our first one is 5.1. We have our communications director, Maria. Maria is there as well, in person.
Good
And,
evening, Mayor Terry and council members. We're very happy this evening to be here to present the new website. As you might remember, we told you last year that we would be updating the design and content of the city's website. And this evening, we're happy to be here to highlight some of these features. This evening, Ashley Downton, who project managed this process, will review some of the research and goals that were developed as we moved forward with this, as well as demo some of the new website and features, and then we'll be happy to answer your questions and any feedback that you might have for us.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Ashley Downton, Senior Communications Officer. Our communications team is proud to have launched our new city website in November. In early 2021, our communications team began reviewing analytics for our existing website, so we then had a foundation to build and create the new website. We explored heat maps on information visitors were clicking on, behavior maps for how visitors were finding information, top most visited pages, and more. 4 of our key insights that we gleaned from this research were: number 1, our website saw substantial growth of 43% in 2020 as residents and businesses sought out COVID-19 resources and as the city made major announcements such as the launch of Rancho Cordova Online to the groundbreaking of Rio del Oro. Number 2, we had over 400 web pages, many that weren't being visited by our community. Number 3, on the homepage, the search and services were the most clicked on items, with navigation being used moderately. And number 4, our website was being visited about 50-50 on desktop versus mobile. We also then looked at best practices and other governmental agency websites to see what other agencies were doing and how we could make our website the best it could be to support our community. Finally, we also gathered feedback from our city team as well as from our community through ongoing feedback that they provide us digitally and through Rancho Cordova Connect, as well as in person when we interact with our community. Out of this data gathering, our primary goal was to create a website that was more user-friendly and efficient with a focus on target audiences and providing information through those methods. Simply put, we wanted residents and businesses to be able to quickly find information without needing to know which department they needed to go through. We also wanted our website to be user-friendly for visitors, regardless of what device they were visiting the website on. We are excited to demo our new website for you tonight, which we absolutely love. In addition, this website will continue to evolve as our city evolves, which is the great thing about the website as a tool. For our community who are listening to this, as you begin to explore the new website, we want to invite you to share your feedback with us and ask questions. And the email on the screen, communications@cityofranchocordova.org, is one way you can do that. Now, let's jump into the demo. Fabulous, thank you. Okay, so let's start with our city website homepage. So the website homepage was completely redone, and we want to start with the 3 ways that our community can find and access information. The first is our new toolbar, as you can see here. And as I mentioned before, we have 2 new sections that are for target audiences. So our residents and businesses have one specific area they can go to get resources and services that are available to them. Departments is the same as we had on the old website. It is organized by department. So if you are familiar with city government and know which department to go to for information, you can access it through these means. Experience is a new section on the website that allows you to explore things to do in Rancho Cordova, arts and culture, all the great ways that you can experience Rancho Cordova. We then have the search icon right here, in which you can include keywords in order to find the information you're looking for. And last, we are very excited about the Service Finder. This is a new feature that quickly condenses information on services that are available to our residents and businesses in quick drop-downs and with the click of a button. You will also see that our new website is very visual forward. We have a lot of great photos about our city, and they all embody the live, work, learn, and play campaign, and you will see that throughout the website. Moving further down, our top websites, web pages that have been visited have been condensed into these easy buttons so they are front and center and easily accessible. We are excited about the new Spotlight section as well, which allows us to change out information based on new programs or campaigns throughout the year. We have also brought to the forefront events and news that are happening in our community. You probably saw the pop-up at the beginning, and that was for email signups for our newsletter. We are excited to announce that because of that pop-up, we've already quickly exceeded the goal of email signups that we presented to council last year. Also, for the homepage and the rest of our website, we have what's called a responsive design. So, in essence, let's see if I can get this to work. When you, it did, that's okay. Okay, when you condense the screen, it basically aligns to the device you are using. So if you have a tablet, a laptop, it will fit in the screen. For mobile users, there is a new app-like feature in which you can click on these buttons to get started on the information that you are looking for. We want to delve into brand new features that are available in each of the navigation sections, and we will start with residents. One of the things that residents most look for are about new businesses and projects. So we made that very easy for them by creating a web page that highlights all the new businesses and projects that are coming to our community. We have a new businesses and projects map as well, which is currently continuing to be developed. So if you are seeing construction in the community and want to know what's happening, you can access this map. We created a new community topics section that has topics that are of most interest to the community at this time, everything from climate action plan to celebrating diversity. Speaking of diversity, we've created a new webpage to celebrate that Rancho Cordova is the 29th most diverse city in the United States. We also are recognizing annual observances to recognize the contributions and history of many diverse groups. We encourage our residents and businesses to come back to this page over the year for updates. And lastly, under the resident section, we have a youth resources section, which was created by our Summer at City Hall program students. They wanted to create a resource page for youth in our community with things that they might be interested in. So we can truly say this webpage was created by our youth for our youth. Moving on to the businesses section, we have a new custom-like homepage for our businesses that breaks down the sections they might be interested in, from starting a business to resources and service. We also have brought forth factoids about our city they might be interested in, news, and then programs. We also created an apply for a license or permit page for our businesses, and there's also one for our residents that has license or permits for that audience. Originally, license or permit information was divided across multiple pages, hidden and a bit confusing, so we streamlined it into a one-stop shop. The department section, as I mentioned, is the same, but it has all new refreshed content. We have pulled out a lot of the services and resources information into the residents and business section, as well as the service finder, so it's easily accessible to our community. And lastly, under the experience section, we have a new page for Rancho Cordova events, highlighting events that are coming soon to our community. We have been using search engine optimization to rank this page for key search terms relating to Rancho Cordova events, as we know this has been a priority for the council. In conclusion, our communications team took 400 web pages and condensed them into 200 web pages with all brand new and easy to understand content. We want to remind our community that if you've bookmarked a page, go back and refresh it as the navigation has changed. We invite our community to explore our new website, and we will be highlighting features of the website every month on our social media channels. And once again, if our community has questions or feedback, please feel free to reach out to us. Now, we'd love to take any questions or feedback from the council. Thank you.
Thanks, Ashley. Do we have any public comment on this item, Stacy?
I have not received any public comment for this item. No.
Okay. I'd ask folks that are in Zoom, if you do have a comment, raise your hand. Council, any questions for staff?
I have one.
Go ahead, David.
Actually, it looks really great. I am so happy with the improvements to the site. It's much more accessible information, I think, for people. There is this ongoing challenge that most websites have now of searchability. And I'm wondering if you could say something about that, that particular aspect. Many government websites find it almost impossible to have intelligent searches done on them. You know, like if you go to our website and you type in water heater and you're looking for a water heater permit, do I need one or don't want? Do I not need one? Can we expect to find that sort of result easily, or is that a problem still?
The search engine is now powered by Google, so the results are accurate. We are also continuing through the website to ensure that if you're not using the search engine or you don't feel comfortable using it, that you can find other ways to access that information through the navigation, the service finder. So we're trying to ensure that residents, however they're comfortable searching for the information, are able to get it through the method that they're most familiar with.
Mayor,
thank
I
you.
have a comment.
Go ahead.
Ashley, thank you so much for this website. I know I was one of the few or many that kept emailing about some stale pages and the need for it to be updated, so really appreciate this. A lot of our questions that I do have probably would be answered, browsing through the website. One question I had is if the public wants to give feedback or they want to see something else, is there like a page where they can drop their comment that, and then we can reply like, this is what we're doing about it?
For sure. So let me go to one of the subpages. So in addition to emailing our communications team, we have our email communications@cityofranchocordova.org. On each webpage, there's this button called feedback. And when you click on it, you're able to provide your name, contact information, and a message. We do receive feedback through our residents and businesses regularly through this method. So when they're on the page, they can say, we have this suggestion, I have a question, and then it allows us to respond to them digitally as well. So that either of those would be a great option.
Perfect. Thank you, Ashley.
And I'm just going to add that we actually have received some feedback from our residents, and they've pointed out a few different things, and we've gone ahead and added that information on there. We appreciate that, and as Ashley mentioned, this will evolve as the needs of our community evolve, and so it's a living, breathing thing. So even though in this moment in time we're saying we have this new website with all of this new content, the content will constantly be new.
Awesome. One more thing I had is if you could tag our social media to this page, or is it already there?
You mean referring people to our social media channels?
Yeah, like our Facebook, because we post a lot on our Facebook and...
Sure. Yes, this is the What's Happening page. And there are links to all of our social media channels. We also have them in the footer, so regardless of what page you're going to or navigating to, you have those links as well.
What's in? After
This is next door.
Oh, wow.
No,
Okay.
next door.
Nice.
Oh, that's very
A
funny.
lot of icons are out there.
Donald, I have my hand up.
Yeah, go ahead, Linda.
So, yeah, Ashley, I know that David will agree with me that this is the absolutely most dynamic, user-friendly version of a website we have ever had, and it's really great. This is actually the way that I get to our agendas and staff reports. So, and it's extremely easy to do. Everything prints, it's all really working out. The only question I had, you made a comment about there being in the residence section, there's a way in which they can check on whatever construction is going on around town. And I'm wondering if that also includes city construction, like people chewing up the roadways, as opposed to just the 3 shopping centers that we have under construction.
Absolutely. The page overall has various sections. So the first is focused on new and coming soon businesses. The second is on new and coming soon projects, and then how to stay updated through our city's newsletter. Public Works, there's a button right here that. What's that?
Yeah, Public Works.
Yes.
Good.
So they have right now a separate webpage that includes all of the projects that are either happening, under construction, under design, plans and studies. They have interactive maps. So there's a lot of information on this page as well in order to get that information to our community.
That's wonderful. Next time I won't call Albert. I'll go to the website. Super. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda. Any other questions for staff? Garrett, you got anything?
No, it looks amazing. Great job on the tech, guys. I'm really liking the direction we're heading as a city to upgrade everything.
Thank you. Just check one more time. Okay. Ashley, Maria, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, we'll move on to item 5.2, and we'll have our HR director, Brenda Roach, to present milestone and anniversaries.
Good evening, Mayor Terry and council members and staff. My name is Brenda Roach, and I'm the Human Resources Manager for the City of Rancho, Cordova. I'm honored to share with you this evening that we have 3 team members who have reached 10 and 15 years of service milestones with the city. As an organization, we feel that this is very important to recognize our employees as they meet these major milestones. Our success as a city is directly attributed to the valuable contributions of our staff. So it's with great pleasure I'd like to introduce Barbara Boyd, a Senior Account Technician, Maricruz Escoval, a Building Permit Technician 2, and Ben Chan, an Assistant Civil Engineer. Barbara has been serving on the City of Rancho Cordova in the Finance Department for the past 10 years. She assists with setting up and maintaining all city projects, which includes developer projects, capital improvement projects, and all of our internal tracking projects. Barbara is also a member of our employee advisory team, and she helps organize various activities and fundraisers for the City Hall. She's also a key organizer in planning lunchtime craft activities for city staff. Unfortunately, Barbara is unable to join us this evening, but I want to thank and acknowledge Barbara for all of her contributions. Next, I'd like to recognize Maricruz. She began her career working at the city in the finance department as an accounting technician for 6 years. Currently, she is a member of our Building and Safety Division, working as a Building Permit Technician 2. In this role, Mayor Cruz assists many residents, business owners, and developers with obtaining various types of building permits. Over the past 10 years, Mayor Cruz has also enjoyed participating in the city's various community events like St. Baldrick's, Kids Days in the Park, and our annual 4th of July celebration. Thank you, Mayor Cruz, for all you do to make our city grow and prosper. And she is actually in the room with us this evening, so I'd like to bring Mayor Cruz up if you'd like to share any comments.
Maricruz, felicitaciones.
Gracias, Linda. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be working for such an amazing city. Every day I come to work, I am excited. There's always new projects. The city's growing. I love working here, and I love everything that I do, and I love our residents, and everybody here is just amazing. There's no words I can describe how amazing this city is and everybody here, and I am just honored, and I continue to seek new adventures and new opportunities. Thank you so much for giving me this. I was really young when I started, and I'm still here, and I continue to enjoy every single day. And Siri, it's the first time I get to meet you officially, so I hope to, and I look forward to working a lot with you.
Officially, I think we were at the Christmas party.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
I won't forget that dance.
That dance. Yes, we're very outgoing people here, so very adventurous, and we're a fun city, and
Yes.
so we enjoy everybody here. So welcome, and again, it's nice seeing you, and all the council members. I enjoy working with you guys, so thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And lastly, I'd like to recognize Ben Chan. Over the past 15 years, Ben has grown and gained lots of experience working in our Public Works Department under both Cyrus and Albert's leadership. He has managed countless projects such as the city's Damages Sidewalk Repair Program, the Neighborhood Traffic Management Program, and so many more. Of all the projects that Ben has worked on, he is most proud of delivering the art mural project along Folsom Boulevard, bringing joy to the community as they drive or walk by. Thank you, Ben, for all that you do to make our city beautiful and safe. And I see you're here with us on Zoom today. Would you like to add any additional comments?
Yeah, I'll say a couple words. First of all, thank you, Mayor Terry and council members and Cyrus. It has been a very, very wonderful 15 years, and I've enjoyed every moment of it. I've liked working for the city, and I will continue to work for the city. I will see myself probably retiring here. We've done a lot of good projects, a lot of award-winning projects, and I'm looking forward to do a lot more. The city has grown a lot, and also the city has done a lot. And there's a lot more projects to do, and a lot more bigger and more exciting projects I'm looking forward to do. For instance, like the interchange that's happening. Hopefully we'll get that done before Cyrus retires. So we'll see. Yeah, we're getting closer, right, Cyrus? But thank you for having me today.
Thank you, Ben.
An honor working for the city. I'm very happy working here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you. So again, congratulations to Barbara, Mayor Cruz for their 10 years of service, and to Ben for your 15 years of service here at the city. Cyrus, would you like to add any personal comments?
Yeah, just a few words. I've had the pleasure and honor of working with Ben, Mary Cruz, and Barbara for all these years. Been around for a few years myself. And I think it's remarkable to see the level of commitment and dedication that we have from these staff members to this community, to this organization. It's heartwarming to see the level of passion they have for the projects and the work they do for this community. So I'm very grateful for having such a great staff, for having such a wonderful commitment to this community. So thank you, congratulations on your anniversary, Ben, Barbara, and Marie Cruz, and hope to and look forward to many more years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cyrus.
Thanks,
And
Cyrus.
thank you, Brenda. With that, we will move on to public comment. Citizens wishing to address the council for any matter not on the agenda may do so at this time via teleconference or by completing a speaker card and giving it to the city clerk. If you want to make a public comment via teleconference, please use the raise hand feature at the bottom center of the screen. For those of us on iPads and other things, it's actually in the top right. If you are participating by telephone and you want to make a public comment, please press *9 to raise your hand. For those participating by Zoom or telephone, please wait to be called upon by the city clerk. For items on the agenda, speakers will be called by the mayor at the point on the agenda when the item will be heard. Speakers are encouraged to keep their comments to 3 minutes or less and state the name and community of residence. Under the provisions of the California Government Code, the City Council is prohibited from discussing or taking immediate action on any item not on the agenda unless it can be demonstrated to be of an emergency nature or the need to take immediate action arose after the posting of the agenda. Do we have any public comment?
Yes, we do. We have a couple of speaker cards for those who are in the audience. I have some public comment that has been received via email, and those who are in Zoom or telephone, this is your time now to raise your hand. So I'm going to go ahead and call on those that are in the council chambers first, starting with Faiza Mughal. Following Faiza will be Helen Whalen Bashaw.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Faiza Mughal from Lincoln Village. Just real quick, I'd like to explain why I'm wearing this 4-leaf clover today. It's to raise awareness for my tiny neighbor, Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Today is 2/22/22, that's the date. The number 22 is very important to the families of someone with Phelan-McDermid syndrome, or PMS for short. PMS is a rare genetic condition caused by a deletion or a variation in chromosome 22. This can cause speech delays, behavior issues, not feeling pain, which can lead to serious injuries, and an inability to sweat, which creates the risk of dangerous overheating. There is no cure. About 84% of people with Phelan-McDermid syndrome have autism, like my friend Sarah. The 4-leaf clover symbolizes just how rare this disorder is. And there's even a slogan that goes along with it. It goes, "Feelin' lucky." To Sarah's mommy, Kayla, you are such a warrior. Sarah is thriving because of you. So keep educating us and keep fighting for your baby. Speaking of supporting our babies, I want to thank Mayor Donald Terry and Councilmember Garrett Gatewood, every friend, every neighbor who showed up to wrap loving arms around Abraham Lincoln Elementary after it was tagged with anti-Black graffiti last week. Being a Black family in Sac City Unified, I can say with certainty that there is way more racism behind the walls than there is on the walls in our schools. And there are studies and data that bear that out. But that's not the only reason why I'm standing here tonight. Tonight I'm here to ask this council to approve a resolution condemning anti-Black racism on behalf of the city. I ask not only for a resolution to be passed so we can send a unified message that anti-Black racism won't be tolerated here, but I am also requesting that a specific staff member be entrusted with this work, that Black community advocates already doing this work regionally, along with myself and our residents from this impacted community, be allowed to participate in putting this resolution together. If you don't see this request as deserving immediate action, which I of course do, then I need my city council members to request tonight that this resolution be added as a future agenda item. I want to emphasize that something of this nature should always be undertaken in collaboration with members of the impacted community. I'm a very strong advocate of for us,
Your time is
with
up.
us. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Faiza.
Thank you, Faiza.
Next speaker is Helen Whalen Bashaw.
Hi, my name is Helen Whalen Bashaw, and I live over in the Tiffany area. I'm here because I have some concerns. We had easement rights over a particular piece of ground. They plowed it under, making it dangerous to walk on. And to date, nothing has been done to give us our easement back, to have the person that destroyed it have to correct the problems, because we can't give tours over that. And I think that the person that damaged it should be the one that fixes it. So I would like to know when, you can email me, when it's going to be done, because we have been denied use of that property because of the plowing for months. Are we going to hit a year mark, or are we going to get it done so that we can start tours again within less than a month? Thank you very much.
I'm going to move now to the public comment received via email. The following individuals submitted public comment via email, and the emails have been provided to the City Council. They'll be placed on our website, and they've also been printed and are available for those in the council chambers at the back of the room. The first public comment that we received via email was from Samantha Aarons. Second, Michael Dack. Third, Bonnie Domini. Fourth, Angel Ball. Fifth, Nick Buchan. Sixth, Dr. Elijah Lewis. Mary Ann Laramie. Mark Berry. Al Rowlett. Carl Haas. Kiera Reed. Danielle Cox, and Autumn Aberhart. And now I'm looking at Zoom and telephone to see if there's any hands raised, Mayor Terry, and I do not see any hands raised at this time.
Nor do I. Let's just give it one more second. Was there anybody that wanted to do public comment in Zoom? Okay, not seeing any. We will move on to council reports and going in order. Garrett, you're up.
Okay, it has been very taxing last couple weeks. Our city's been through some tragedies. It's been through some black racism, and it seems to be overcoming with a lot of these horrible things right now. So first thing, I'm going to start off with one of the things that I think is critical is I want to end this meeting in the name of Emma Rourke. I think that just the things that happened to one of our own is a terrible atrocity. And let me just talk to the families that have sent me stuff. We're going to, as a city, come together. I know Cyrus is going to tell you about a meeting that's supposed to be held on Thursday, and I will be at that meeting. And we're going to do everything in our power to support, to love on the families around us, and to protect the people of Rancho Cordova. You can be sure that every one of us is focused on this and really is turning all our attention to what can we do as city council on this issue of just homelessness. What is the things that we can do to protect you? What is the things that we have to do with the county to protect you? What can we do to get the people off the streets? What can we do to better our situation? Because this cannot go unanswered. We have to have action. And so we as a council, I know, are going to focus on this. I'm of course going to ask for a special session next meeting so we can really address this, because this kind of stuff cannot go unanswered. and have to have a mission, because I want my citizens to feel safe out there. And I want you to know that the council is flipping over. I mean, I've been on talks with not only the DA, the police chiefs, other cities, the county, to try to figure out what we can do. I haven't reached out to the family because I don't want to be in bad taste. But she's a citizen of Rancho Cordova. These families are citizens of Rancho Cordova. And from the bottom of my heart, I could not imagine losing my daughter. And I could not imagine losing my family member in this way. So I have nothing but pity and sorrow, and my prayers go out to that family. And we are standing here with you, and we're going to find a way to get through this. And hopefully there's something we can do to help. But in the end, we're going to keep you guys safe as best we can on council. I mean, that's our goal has always been. And I want you to know that this is probably task one of being a council member is safety. And that's what matters most in most cities. So I am so sorry for your loss. It's almost as bad as losing, it's at the same level. When you lose a person of one of our own, it's like having the Mark Stasiak thing all over again. And so I'm nothing but sorrow, and I have nothing but pity for the family, and I'm going to do everything in my power to see that stuff never happens again. All right, number 2. I went to the Abraham Lincoln School and saw atrocities written against African American or Black people. I haven't seen this kind of rhetoric on the outside in a long time. To put, and I'm not going to quote words, to put fuck nigger on something as the only African American to be on council and as one of the Black leaders in the region is so egregious. And to see this coming to my city is hurtful. And to have families seeing that, and I was there as we welcomed them to school, and to see these families being hurt and having to explain to their kindergartners what that means. And now, and especially during Black History Month, to have this being something that actually is shown of my city, this racist feel. I have never seen something like this come out, and it's been like 10 or 20 years before I've seen a school have those kinds of allegations written all over it. It's so hurtful to African Americans. So of course, I'm 100% pushing the resolution. I do think we should go get more Black leaders, including Faiza. Thank you for everything you do, because she's the soul and one of the sole leaders of our region, and she keeps us honest, and she's in there, and she wants nothing but the best for Black youth and Black people in our city. But to see this and see it come up is just hurtful. And so we have a lot of healing to do right now in Rancho, not only along the homeless, but now with the Black people in our community who now are starting to question things, who are now afraid. And let me tell you, from council side, I'm going to do everything in my power to come alongside you and see what I can do to make you feel more secured. And of course, we're going to pass this resolution against anti-Black racism. Of course we are. I mean, we shouldn't have to pass one, because honestly, it should go without question that this kind of stuff never stands in our city. And we have built ourselves on being a bootstrap city, which means we pick each other up. We don't attack our own, and we protect our citizens. And so we as a council, I can't speak for everybody, but I know the heart of most of my council members, and they are appalled by this, and they will come alongside us, and they are with us as we go and say that this kind of stuff is unacceptable, it should never have the light of day, should racist stuff be written anywhere in Rancho Cordova. And our police are diligently looking for the people that did it and to bring them to justice. And I hope that as we do this walk together, it'll start to establish and keep everybody safe. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about is, what does it mean to do a racist attack on somebody? It means that you attack someone in our area
and he's the only Black one of the group. Now, I've heard some questions about some of the people that have sat on their pickings being picked. Just to tell you, I'm disappointed in us that we decided to throw one of our own under the bus. A father of 4 who's just a Black business leader and a Black business owner that has struggled and succeeded and failed. If you're a business owner in our community, you know that your rap sheet looks a lot like a war zone and less like a pretty walk. And to hear that someone decided to put all the stuff that he does out in the open and make it a bad thing. Ken Henderson is one of the most decent men I've ever met in my life. He's a father of 4, and basically when I met him was raising those 4 girls by himself. He made Rancho Cordova his home. He was the one person when in the pouring rain, we had to do a trash drive and was out in the lower socioeconomic Black and poor people communities in Rancho Cordova and helping me carry down washers and dryers out of people's houses to make room for trash. He sat on the Cordova Park Board as a nonprofit. He's one of the people of the Chamber of Commerce. He sat with the MLK. And if you're going to attack someone right after we had an issue with racism in our city, it looks terrible. The timing is everything, and this is terrible to do right now. And to hurt someone, one of our own, that is not what Rancho Cordova is about. Rancho Cordova is uplifting. Our people stand hand in hand as we go through things. And yeah, he may have had some issues with some businesses as he tries. So has Abraham Lincoln. And so has on the other one, I mean, it's not a good example, is Donald Trump. Business is hard. Business is grueling. But his heart has always been here in Rancho Cordova, helping, growing, and as a Black leader, to have another person get attacked is hard. So I don't know where we're going to go as a group on our picks, but understand that that kind of thing is not acceptable, and it's very disappointing. So we have a lot of soul searching as a city to do right now. We've had a lot of bad things that seem to line up one after another after another. I'm here for the long run. If you want to attack someone, by all means, attack me as much as you want. I can take it. But don't hurt individuals that basically are trying to step up for a $75 a month thankless job to try to help the city out. As a minority business owner that's gone and made all the same mistakes and struggled and strived just to try to get to success, I find it hurtful that my own city seems to be attacking people. I know that Rancho Cordova is better than this. So my Black leaders, my Black business owners, and minorities in general, look, this is not indicative of our city. This homeless issue is horrific throughout the region, but we take care of ourselves in our own. So I just hope that these next steps as a group, we make the right decisions as a community, and we come together and find a way to make what's best in Rancho, what Rancho is really about, which is the next best steps. We're growing as a city. We're going to bump our knees, but I know that we have what's best in our city at heart. And I just want to thank everybody for their time, and I'll give it back to the mayor. Thank you.
Thanks, Jared. Siri, you're up.
Thank you, Councilmember Garrett, for your remarks. You spoke what is on top of our minds in terms of the tragic events that happen in our city. For the young lady and her family, my prayers are with you. As a woman, it is scary to go out in the city. You know, we've come to the land of America where we proudly say we can go out at night and we can roam about. But when we hear and see stuff as horrific as this, it stops us in our tracks and makes us scared to come out and to raise our kids in a city where such graphic detail was posted and is in the news for everybody to hear. You know, our police is on top of this, and they will ensure that such events do not happen again. And we'll make sure that, you know, our police is on top of it, and we will make sure that safety is our top priority. On the account of graffiti at Abraham Lincoln, let me just say, we just think it's graffiti. It's something that kids. This is the second school in the Sacramento City Unified School District that we're seeing graffiti. The first one we've learned is a prank. But even when it's a prank, as a woman of color, let me tell you that, when stuff comes down against you, it really brings you down. It's just graffiti. It's just notes on a wall. But you're hurting the very identity of the person when the people put up such stuff on the walls or anywhere. Even a snide remark brings down our entire day. But when you're questioning and hurling remarks at the identity of people, at their culture, it's absolutely not acceptable. As the two people of color in the council, let me say that our entire council treats us with utmost respect, treat us as equals. We're here to represent you, and we are representing you. And our council will stand behind us every step of the way. And Rancho Cordova, we are all together in this. So please take note, we will not accept this kind of, let's not call it vandalism. It was a hate crime. Even it was not intended. Maybe they just thought they're getting away. It's a little bit of fun. It is a hate crime, and we will treat it as such. So please be sure that such events will not happen again in Rancho Cordova. We will again make sure that such events do not happen. On another note, let me say that, from events that I've attended, the mayor has presented at the Chamber of Commerce in Rancho Cordova. He did a really good speech. It was a very well-attended event. And he talked about how Rancho Cordova has progressed and the next steps for the city of Rancho Cordova. So thank you, Mayor, for that really good speech. Councilmember David Sanders stood in for Shelley and really talked about all the events that Rancho Cordova has had and will have in the future. I think our summer is packed up with events. And Councilmember David really represented Shelley very well. He was a bit taller, but hey, that's what it is. I also want today to bring up another thing that I have bringing up a couple of times. This is the bus situation of the kids from the south of Rancho going to Elk Grove. That situation has not improved. And I want to highlight once again over here that that is something that we are looking into, and hopefully we find a resolution soon. But keep in mind, all the kids that go there, we didn't let it go. We are trying to pursue a solution, and we're working really close with the Elk Grove School District to find a resolution or outcome, something that will work out pretty soon. And hold me accountable. If you're not hearing this, please keep pinging me, because again, this is on top of this is on my mind, and children's safety again is our top priority. Okay, I want to end with happy Tuesday. Today is 2/2/22. Tuesday. It is both a palindrome and a ambigram, which is a date where, it is the same from left to right, right to left, and even upside down. You read the same thing. So a unique day. Do something special today if you can, or if not, it's still a very happy Tuesday to you. And that's the end of my report. Mayor Terry?
Thank you, Siri. David.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am remote tonight, as are most of my colleagues, but I am very remote. I'm in a hotel in Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island. And I apologize if my speech is breaking up. I have my video turned off on purpose because my connection is not great. So, Mr. Mayor, please interrupt me if I become unclear. I might need to find some other means of. I can hear you guys pretty well. Occasional speed ups and slowdowns, but let me know if I'm not coming through.
I will tell you, you sounded fine since you unmuted. So
excellent.
Yeah.
So well, it was a pleasure to introduce you last week, Mr. Mayor. You did a good job at the Cordova Community Council. I don't know that I did such a good job filling in for Shelley. That's a near impossible job. But I do appreciate Siri's remarks, noting that I was taller than Shelley. That's nice to know. And also, Siri, I appreciate the 2 on a Tuesday of all days, which is really sort of ridiculous, but cool at the same time. I spoke and hosted an NLC infrastructure event last week, and I also had several other meetings, but one in particular I want to mention. At SACOG, we've been working on a social justice effort, and we actually adopted those principles last week. And a lot of people, I think, have been asking, what is SACOG, a transportation funding agency, doing, talking about social justice? And the reality is, SACOG is more than just a transportation funding agency. We're also a council of governments. And as a council of governments, we do a number of things for the state and for the federal government that have to deal with planning and land use. And given that, Sacramento has a redlining history here, and I think everyone's probably familiar with what that means, and the fact that SACOG's predecessor agencies go way back into the 1960s, that is something we felt as an organization that we could not let pass. And so I would urge you to take a look at that action last Thursday and what SACOG did, and I hope you should feel a little proud of it, because I think it is groundbreaking within that industry, and it addresses an awful lot of challenges that we as a nation are having and that we as a region need to address with regard to equity and racial justice. So I do not want to repeat a lot of what my colleagues said, but I do want to highlight a couple of things that have really struck me here tonight and this past week. So I heard in our presentation about our website that we are officially the 29th most diverse city in the United States. And that is something we have been proud of for an awfully long time. I think it began back in the days of Aerojet in the 1960s and 70s. And it was probably even here before that with the Air Force. Two entities that definitely led to a diversity of people in Rancho Cordova and a very collaborative spirit among that diverse population. That is still present here today in Rancho Cordova. I have no doubt about that. We have a past mayor, Garrett Gatewood, who's been recognized regionally as an up-and-coming Black leader. I don't know if that was mentioned tonight, but it should have been. And then we have a couple of incidents in this past week that are extremely unfortunate and upsetting. The graffiti at Abraham Lincoln, my understanding is that students didn't really get exposed to that school staff were able to deal with it in a really quick basis. I'm thankful for that. I'm also thankful that our PD are working on that, and hopeful they can find who was responsible for that. And I hope I don't know what to hope about the result. It's incredibly regretful either way, and does a lot of damage no matter where that came from. I know there was that other incident in the same Sacramento City Unified School District, kind of had a different resolution, and it's been labeled a prank. I don't think this one could meet that definition in any way, shape, or form. But that is not something that has happened here in Rancho Cordova before. And I have to attribute some of this, I think, to this post-COVID malaise and anger and frustration that people are feeling, on top of the entire national mood with regard to race. There's some bad interactions going on here, and I just want to be sure that we as a city stay on top of that and work on it. So in a similar way to what SACOG has worked on, I think it is appropriate, as we responded a couple years ago, or maybe it was just last year, to Asian hate incidents, we should do the same thing here in this case and just make it perfectly clear that that is not what Rancho Cordova is or ever was. As a matter of fact, we have been a beacon for the opposite way of dealing with diversity, and that's by being very collaborative and welcoming and open and loving each other as neighbors in Rancho Cordova, as we have done for decades and decades. And we cannot let these incidents impact our residents in any way and take it out of that context of what we have been and what we are and what we will be. So I think that's a great way to do it, is probably a resolution. In addition to that, we have this incident with the murder in the Parkway. And there are many, many contributing features here, many of which you have heard, I think members of the public, you have heard people on this council expound on for years, and our incredible frustrations with homelessness and lawlessness and our state and federal government's inability to deal with mental health issues and addiction issues, and even to some extent the breakup of families and family values in our country. I think all of these things contribute to that incident that happened in the Parkway. And I know from a law enforcement point of view, from a code enforcement point of view, from a partnership point of view with the county that owns and operates and polices that Parkway, changes will have to be made, and we will get to the bottom of what has allowed this to go to this point, and we will probably be, once again, a leader in the region for how to deal with it. And I look forward to hearing our staff talk about what those going forward options are. We have been a leader in homelessness and these issues for years, and I expect we need to do so again with regard to camping in that Parkway and dealing with the mental health of the chronically homeless that are among us in Rancho Cordova. I think on those notes, and they're somewhat somber notes, I want to end my comments. But as always, I look forward to improvements in our community, increasing the safety in our community, and increasing the well-being of all of our residents. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you, David. Linda?
Wow. So to deal with the routine stuff first, I was able to join, and I am also remote because in this world, not everybody gets sick from the virus, but I've had a bad cold since Wednesday, and it has not made life easy, which is why I was not at Community Council on Friday, Donald. I was able, fortunately, before I came down with this cold, to do a Read Across America taping. I participated in a call with the consultant that the library hired to talk about library services and our need here in Rancho Cordova to restore a balance of library services to at least the city, if not in several locations, so that it serves all parts of Rancho Cordova. The Regional Transit Board adopted the plan for expanding the board membership that I have talked about in the past. And so at this point in time, they're going to create parity for the county by adding another county member. And then they're going to, just as the Library Authority Board does, they're going to add another member from Elk Grove because of Elk Grove's enormous population. Several of us are very much aware of the Kinder Morgan proposal for the tank farm at Bradshaw and Folsom Boulevard. And there are many more community meetings to come on that before they get approval to do that. We know that there are going to be several community meetings coming up, and I think Cyrus will talk about those. We also know that our Assemblyman Ken Cooley has a coffee both in Gold River and in Rosemont coming up on Saturday, March the 12th. And SMUD sent a letter, which I assume we all received, that has to do with the fact that they're going to resume normal payment and disconnection policies. However, and I'm going to give this to Ashley and Maria for them to post on the website. Anybody who has trouble paying their bills with SMUD needs to contact SMUD and not just let the situation get critical. SMUD has a variety of problems that will help them in paying their bills, and they need to take advantage of that opportunity for help. So finally, I would say that having grown up in the Air Force and having lived in a variety of locations around the world, experiencing very many different cultures, I have always, as you all know, been an incredible supporter of our diversity and our multicultural nature here in Rancho Cordova. And we can harken back to the article that was in the Wall Street Journal back in 2002 when we incorporated that said that we were the most diverse city in the United States. And here we are today when we still maintain our recognition as the 29th most diverse city. So it is incredibly sad that we have come to a point in the world when the anger and the hostility that has built up in people over the last couple of years is expressing itself now in ways that are completely rude, completely impolite, completely inappropriate in a city like Rancho Cordova. And I join my colleagues in acknowledging that this is not our concept for how people treat each other in the world, regardless of what the date might be. We also continue to lose people, and the sadness of having lost the young lady in a tragic accident or tragic incident is joined by our loss of 2 additional people. One of them was a very upstanding gentleman that was well known throughout the region, a gentleman named Bill Meehan, who was head of the Central Labor Bureau for years and years, and actually started, along with Maurice Reed, a construction training bureau here out at Mather. And then a gentleman who visited us because of what he did to help free the world back in World War II. Gail Halverson, who was called a candy bomber because he dropped candy to all the kids in Berlin. And we all remember when he was here in 2013 at the air show, and the German consul general came, all these wonderful people who were now much older, but who grew up in Berlin at the time, came to greet him and get greeted by the German consul. And so we want to add our sympathies to their families, along with our sympathy to the family of the young lady who was tragically taken from us a week ago. Thank you, Donald.
Thanks, Linda. I'm going to try not to repeat a lot of what you've heard tonight, but I do want to make some comments along the same lines. I guess I'll start kind of like what Linda did with some of the pleasantries more. First, I'd like to thank the Chamber and the Community Council for not only inviting me to do the Mayor's Luncheon, but also to allow us to postpone it to a little bit of a safer date. And it turned out that by the time we held that luncheon, the indoor mask mandate had dropped, and we actually got to see people and their actual faces inside during a lunch, which I think I shared that day. That was the first time I attended an event that large in over 2 years. And of course I had to be the one speaking too, but it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of great information to share, a lot of great things that our staff and our city are working on. I want to thank Maria and Ashley, who you heard from earlier tonight, for writing darn near everything I said. So thank you for getting that all together. It's amazing how much work goes into talking for 20 minutes, how much time goes into it ahead of time to get to there. But kudos to everybody and all of the great things that are happening. So let me start with Abraham Lincoln. And so as somebody who lived 2 blocks from that school when I got elected, I was the school board member for that neighborhood. And to understand the diversity of that neighborhood, to understand what those kids look like that go to school there, for those things to be written there, or anywhere for that matter, really is completely unacceptable, and we should stand up to it in every facet and form that we see it in. But to look at those little kids that day, and to be honest with you, I didn't even realize we were really going to give speeches or anything. I just saw an invitation that said, come and welcome our kids to school. Something, this racist act happened at this school, and come and welcome our kids. And everybody, I think, has their own angle about what they want to have happen there and what they think is going on. But what my message was that day, and what my message will continue to be, is we care about those kids. We love those kids. We love that staff. We want all of that community to be successful. And what was written on those walls is not what this community thinks of them. And we will fight against people that think that way. And anybody that wants to run around and talk about critical race theory and all kinds of other things that you hear, these catchphrases and stuff in the media, it's called history. David alluded to it, and I'll just say that he said the word redlining. The reason I'm employed for a bank is because I'm a Community Reinvestment Act officer. It's specifically to make sure that banks don't redline anymore, which was starving Black and minority and low-income communities for decades from the needed capital to build communities and to build wealth in America. That's a fact. That's not that is not critical race theory or anything else. That is history, and that is part of who we are as a country. And I think through this pandemic, a lot of other things, this country's evolved in some ways and devolved in some ways. But the reality is that we have to accept what our history is and fight as hard as we can to address those inequities and to invest and to right the wrongs in many ways. So again, I would join my colleagues at the end of the meeting. We can add that as an additional item to have at our next meeting, but I would like to have that resolution brought before us. I think I heard FISA say she's going to write it, or at least wants to work on it, and I welcome that and applaud that. But yeah, it's very disappointing. It's very frustrating to see that stuff. But understand that deep down inside, again, we love those kids that are going to that school. We want to help them succeed, and nobody in this community thinks that what was on those walls was appropriate. So the Parkway. So yes, we should adjourn tonight in memory of Emma Rourke. We will do that. I think it's a very tragic, circumstance. My thoughts and prayers and trying to think what other words I heard tonight go out to that family. When I was on the school board, we had another very tragic incident very similar to this in a park in Rosemont. I don't think our city is an unsafe city, but bad things like this will happen, unfortunately, and we should figure out and learn from this and figure out what other things we can do. I think David did say that this incident happened in an area in the Parkway that is owned by the county and is policed by the county. So there's only so much influence that we have over where this happened. But she's one of our residents, and we bear some responsibility for making sure that our citizens are safe, period. So I would really like to have a workshop very soon to understand what the county and the park rangers in particular can do to address this. And homelessness, like my colleagues have said, is a massive problem, not just here, not just in the county, not just on the West Coast. This is a national problem. As we've seen home values increase, we've seen homelessness increase. I think it is important to point out that just because somebody is living in their car or living in a tent because they can't afford to live in a house does not make them a criminal. But obviously we know that the longer somebody is chronically homeless, which I believe is after being homeless for 3 years, a lot of other things start to set in. A lot of mental health issues, a lot of dependency issues, which clearly this individual had, and we need to figure out. And we've been working for years to try to address this from a humane standpoint of how do we help these people get the services and the housing that they need so that they're not only not posing a danger to other members of society, but themselves. And so I join my colleagues, and I would like to see what PD and POP and everybody else can do to address the concerns that clearly have been ignited in the comments and the emails that I've been receiving since this incident. So, and not only addressing it within the city, but also addressing it on the parkway. And for that, we have to have a willing partner, which is the county, because they own it and they police it. And so I would really like to hear what other efforts they can put forward to ensuring that things like this don't happen in the future. And with that, I will hand it over to our city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to address the two topics that have been brought up tonight. One related to the graffiti at the school, at Abraham Lincoln School. Just wanted to let the council know that shortly after learning the incident, I did contact Superintendent Jorge Aguilar, had a direct communication with him, offered my assistance, the city's assistant, and also reiterated that we are, in fact, available and ready to assist. I also know that Chief Luke also did contact the safety director at Sac City Unified, had a conversation, and our POP officers visited the school. And Lori and Elm, with our communication, with community engagement, did contact the principal of the school and offered help and assistance. So at every level, aside from the work that the community did, that city staff and city was available and ready to help and assist the school. And we hopefully, through some additional work at some point, we can identify the culprits for that incident. Related to the tragic incident along the parkway, this was a horrific crime, something that really breaks everybody's heart learning about what happened to this young woman. And many community members have questions about what happened. There has been a series of stories and news stories, and people are asking about the safety of the community, safety of the parkway. So they have questions. So we will be holding a public meeting this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. at Cordova Community Church. And we have invited our police department would be there. Our homicide detectives would be in the audience. We have also invited the park rangers to attend the meeting to address some of the safety issues along the parkway. And our homeless outreach team will also be available to provide additional information on the work and the program that we have for our homeless population. So just the one thing that I would like to reiterate, and Mayor Terry, you mentioned that this is, this is a horrific crime committed by a demented criminal, and it's not a reflection on the community. It's, and I want to also make sure that everybody understands that our community is safe. We've had this horrible incident, we had this tragic incident, but our community is safe, and we are, not only our police department was, with the help of the sheriff's department, were able to locate the suspect and bring him to justice. We have programs and we have protocols that keeps our community very safe. So we will be talking about that some more at the meeting on Thursday, and I hope that those who are interested to learn more about this can participate. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. If I could ask my colleagues to entertain one other comment that I forgot to bring up, but it is Black History Month, and I did want to acknowledge that our former Assistant Chief of Police, Bobby Davis, was appointed the new Elk Grove Chief of Police. And so congratulations, Bobby, who retired away from the sheriff a couple of years ago, moved over to Elk Grove, and now he is their chief of police. And we wish him all the best. And we know that they got a good one when they got that guy.
We need to acknowledge our chief of police as well. He's right here in the room.
Is he here?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't see him. Okay. Good to see you, Chief. Okay, so with that, we'll move on to consent calendar items. Consent calendar items.
Mr. Mayor, can I mention? I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to mention one thing, and this is a comment for staff or for you or for other council members. But I was unaware of the incident at Abraham Lincoln and unaware of the event that followed that that graffiti. And I think, unless I've overlooked something, I mean, it's possible I've overlooked an email or something, but normally we would all be notified of that. And I would just ask that we kind of look into, I'm not sure how a couple of us knew about it, and I did not, that had happened.
Yeah, David, none of us got directly invited. I randomly, right before I went to bed, looked on Facebook and saw a post that had like 2 likes from people that I knew. And I saw it there. That's how I ended up there the next morning.
Yeah, Council Member Sandra.
And honestly, yeah, and I would just say too, I did not even know it was an event. I thought it was literally just come and welcome the kids onto campus. So, or I probably would have forwarded it to my colleagues and to Maria and to the school board member for Sac City Unified that also was unaware of it. So it was put together fairly hastily.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not even a regular Facebook user, so that wouldn't necessarily catch me.
Yeah, and I was not invited directly at all for that. So, but your comments were shared by many people that weren't aware of it shortly after they heard of it.
Cyrus, did you have something you wanted to add about that?
No, I just wanted to also mention that I have also mentioned that to the school officials because we had no knowledge of it. And had we known, we would have notified the council, the rest of the council, and would have made sure that we have city representation.
Yeah, I think even when I said I was coming, that's when I was informed that I would be speaking. So up until then, I just thought I was showing up to something. Okay, so with that, consent calendar items. So consent calendar items consist of matters deemed routine and non-controversial by staff unless a member of the council wishes to pull an item for individual consideration. All items will be approved by one motion. Do we have anything that needs to be pulled or discussed on the calendar?
Hearing none, I will move approval of consent calendar items 9.1 through 9.6.
I second.
Assuming there's no public comment.
Thank you. And I have a second from Pool Potty. Do we have any public comment on this? I should have asked for that. Thank you, Linda.
The city clerk's office has not received any written public comment. I do not have any speaker cards for items on the consent calendar, and there are no hands that are raised in Zoom.
Okay, I'm going to just give it 5 seconds in Zoom in case somebody does. Seeing none, call the question. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Sander?
Aye.
Councilmember Pulapati?
Yes.
Councilmember Gatewood?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Budge?
Yes.
Mayor Terry?
Aye. Thank you. So with that, I'm hearing an echo. For those not speaking, could you mute, please? I think that went away. So consent public hearing items. Consent public hearing items consist of matters deemed routine and non-controversial by staff. Unless a member of the council wishes to pull an item for individual consideration, all items will be approved by one motion. Do we have any public comment on this calendar?
Can you open the public hearing?
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Do we have any public comment?
The city clerk's office has not received any public comment via email. I have no speaker cards for members in the audience, and I do not see any hands that are raised in Zoom or by telephone.
Colleagues, any comments or need to pull any of these items?
Seeing none, I will move approval.
Wait, hang on. So hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I will move approval of items 10.1 through 10.3 with congratulations to Woodside, not only on their elevations, but also the lot and block design of the majority of their neighborhood. This will be a very walkable neighborhood.
Second.
Seems like you snuck in a comment there, Linda, but we'll go ahead with it.
You betcha.
With that, roll call, please.
Councilmember Gatewood.
Aye.
Councilmember Pulapati.
Yes.
Councilmember Sander.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Budge.
Yes.
Mayor Terry.
Aye. Okay, calendar is adopted. We have no public hearing items, so we will move directly into regular calendar items, and our first agenda item will be 12.1. I'd like to ask, before we take this item up, I'd like to ask the city attorney to weigh in here on some information that we may have received and maybe a staff recommendation on next steps.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I believe I speak for the city manager in offering these few comments. First, as the council well knows, the city values the appearance not just of avoiding ethical issues, but avoiding any possible appearance of ethical issues. And there were issues raised over the weekend regarding a planning commission appointee and also the planning commission appointment process overall. That information may have been untrue. It's not something that we've had any chance to look into yet, but in the interest of avoiding any question whatsoever about the important process of proceeding with selecting a planning commission, our joint recommendation is that you continue this item and that you allow additional information, the same information, to be gathered about all the applicants for the planning commission, and that we would come back to the city council with that additional information gathered to proceed with your action on this item in approximately a month. Mr. City Manager, do you have any thoughts or comments to supplement that statement?
No, I think as City Attorney mentioned, this information, we received this information late last night, and we have not had a chance to analyze the data or the information or the allegations that we have received. So we're requesting that some additional time be provided so we can ask the help of a third party to look into it and bring it back to the City Council for action.
And I think I also heard not only about this allegation, but a full opportunity for each of the candidates to have the same amount of scrutiny.
Yes, we would provide
exactly the same information we get for everyone.
Okay. So colleagues, with that recommendation, I guess I would agree with it. I guess my suggestion of moving forward would be to continue the item, but since this is an agendized item, by law, we would need to take public comments and any comments that council would like to make at this point. So at this point, are there any questions for staff on what was just suggested? Let's start there, and then I think I'm going to need to go to public comment after that.
I don't have any questions, Donald. I would say that I actually have not, I've heard about it, but I have not seen. For whatever reasons, I'm not sure I got that email or whatever was sent out. But again, we have reached such a sad point in the world when anger and hostility have dominated the public rhetoric as opposed to respect and cordiality and working together. And that's really very sad. As Garrett mentioned, that these things are all coming together at the same time. So I would hope that a month's breather and some additional information will give everybody time to regroup.
Thanks, Linda. So I don't really want to motion at the moment. Is there anybody else that has any questions?
Since we're gonna have to do all this research and stuff like that, should we pick the other two and then have them go through the same thing? Or
No, Garrett, I think the point is for every candidate.
Oh, I get you. Yeah. So we're going to do it for all the candidates that are there.
Yeah, not just the ones that have been selected.
Gotcha.
Everyone that's still interested in pursuing it. Any other questions for staff?
It also gives people an opportunity, if after having read the disclosures in the Form 700s and all those things, to withdraw if they should choose to not go through the process.
Agreed. Okay, hearing no more comments, can we take public comment now? And let's start with folks in the room.
I have not received, this is Stacy, the city clerk. I have not received any public comment speaker cards from those that are present in the council chambers.
Okay.
I did.
Did you want to read the public comment?
The city clerk's office did receive one public comment via email from Matt Cummings that has been distributed to the city council and is made available to the public. And there are 2 hands that are raised in Zoom and by telephone.
Okay, so we'll take those 2. So the first one will be Danielle Cummings. Okay, we have 3. Okay, hang on for 1 second. Anybody else that wants to make a public comment, please raise your hand now in Zoom. This will be your only opportunity to do that. Okay, so we have 3 public commenters. We will take Danielle Cummings first, then the phone caller, which is 804 prefix, and then Ken Henderson. So Danielle Cummings, we'll move you into the room, and you'll have 2 minutes.
Mayor and City Council, my name is Tanya. I just want to make a couple of comments in regards to the Planning Commission selection process. There is not a prohibition on holding public office or appointment for paying taxes or honoring business obligations. There is, however, a level of ethics, character, and financial integrity expected by the public. It is often said that just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. Everyone, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, or socioeconomic status, has an expected commitment to fulfill their responsibilities as a member of society, including honoring their fiduciary business duties. If you attempt to divert attention from the real issue at hand by making this a concern of race, then I am left with no choice but to question your character and whether you too believe that not fulfilling your obligations is acceptable. The stability and proper operation of a democratic representative government depends on public confidence in the integrity of the government and upon responsible exercise of the trust conferred by the people upon their elected officials. Everyone has a right to have a voice in our government, but not everyone is fit to serve in it. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll move on to the phone caller, which I believe is 804, I believe is the prefix. There we go. Hello, caller. You can unmute. You'll have 2 minutes.
Okay, hi. This is Faiza Mughal in Lincoln Village. I did want to say that I'm quite pleased that there is a Black candidate for the Planning Commission. I'd like to thank all of the people that put in for the commissioner seat. You're brave. Something I don't want to do, I wouldn't want to do, but I'm very glad to see that there is at least some modicum of Black diversity. I did skip out and I kind of missed, I guess I missed on something. I'm at home now. I was in there in person, but I didn't look through all the public comments carefully and I'm not seeing it posted. There was a reference to something sent in last night and also Matt Cummings. I don't see it attached in the online agenda items and files. So that's something I would have liked to have just kind of been able to see real quick before I made my comment tonight. I don't agree with the caller before me, Ms. Danielle. Things happen, and pardon my French, shit happens, and financial shit happens, and we do better, we learn from our mistakes. So I don't know why we are okay, let's pretend that he's running for Supreme Court Justice. I don't know, but it really is like, it's not that heavy. And I do agree that if you're going to treat people a certain way, then maybe across the board. But at the same time, had this been disclosed initially, maybe a lot of people wouldn't have run. And that's not what we're about. We're trying to make this approachable. It's the beginning of something. I do believe in standards, but I don't like the lecture and the posturing that just came from the caller before me. I don't think that's right. I do think it's right to be equal and fair and reasonable. And I trust you guys to do that in this case. So thank you very much for allowing me to speak tonight, and good luck to Mr. Henderson.
Thank you, Faiza.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ken will be our next commenter.
The next commenter is Ken Henderson. Ken, you've been unmuted.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. I have become aware of things that have been said about me, and quite frankly, it's hard not to take this personally or as some sort of attack, as I'm the only one who had information researched about myself. I admit, yes, I tried to do business. I failed at business. But I learned something in leadership that you have to fail forward, and that's what I've continued to do, while at the same time being a supporter of the city of Rancho Cordova in many different ways. So it's hard to sit here and think about the attack, and that's what it is, an attack on me and only me alone, when there's so many other candidates we know nothing about. I think that going through the process is good, and I welcome that. I don't have an issue with it, and I don't run for my record. I've made mistakes, I've tried, and I continue to try and will continue to try, because it's hard. Like it's been mentioned earlier, there has been a history of redlining. So being a part of planning the city's future is something that I look forward to. I hope that I am granted that opportunity to do that and have the interest of people that have been historically underrepresented. Not trying to make this a racial issue, but it is just a little strange that I'm the only one that has information dug up on them. So look at my record. Yes, I've made mistakes. I've started businesses. They have failed. I have started business again. They have failed. And I keep going and I keep trying. And that is the spirit that I will have. We've had many, many people in politics that have done things and have failed at them and continue to go on. And that is the biggest thing here. So that's just what I want to say in my quote unquote defense, which is just, to me, a little understood. I understand the concern of certain people, but I just find it to be odd, just very odd, that of all the candidates, I'm the only one that gets singled out. I'm the only one that has quote unquote dirt dug up, and I don't run from it. I don't run from it. I will continue to try. I will continue to do better. I've been trying to run businesses since my late 20s, and things happen, and that's just how it goes. That's how it is. Bootstrapping myself, not coming from anything, trying to build something, and it takes time to do that, and you learn to make a lot of mistakes along the way. But that being said, thank you for the opportunity once again, and I look forward to hearing back from council and the results in a month.
Thank you, Ken. I would just like to point out, based on Faiza's comment, that I believe the council, the city manager, and the city clerk did receive an email from one of the other applicants also saying that he doesn't want to pursue being an applicant anymore or commissioner anymore. It was not in the form of a public comment. So it was just an email making claims against Mr. Henderson. But it was not an actual public comment. Faiza, if you're interested, I'd be more than happy to send it to you. But as an email that just came through, I don't know if that would have made it into the public record in the form that it came. Let's put it that way. So I just want to clarify that. And the fact that it came in last night, it wouldn't normally be part of the packet that was created last week. Okay, colleagues. So in light of what you heard, I guess I would ask if there's a motion to continue to a date uncertain or to 1 month, or however we want to handle this.
Mayor, can I make a quick comment before we make that motion?
Sure.
Thank you. So I really appreciate all the applicants that have submitted the application for the Planning Commission. And though I don't know much about the details of the business and what has happened, and the city is going to look into it, I commend Mr. Ken Henderson for taking the step to do this. I mean, he has a lot going on. Through the years, I've seen, he's single-handedly raising 4 kids, and he had a big personal tragedy happen 2 years ago, and in spite of that, he is stepping up for his passion to serve the city. So that is what I've seen from his application and all the other applicants. So thank you for stepping up.
I got one more thing to say, Donald.
Go ahead.
Okay. Ken, I'm sorry that you had to go through this. I appreciate everything you do for the city, and I can only hope that my city, as a group, we always do what's right. And I know we'll always take the right stuff when we do this. So sorry for that this has come to this and it looks this way. Thank you.
I also find it very disappointing that the individual that made the claims didn't even have the courtesy to show up.
So, Adam, do we want a date certain or a date uncertain?
No, I believe we'll try to do this as quickly as we can. And again, this will be a quick and very standard and normal process.
So, does somebody want to propose a date? Cyrus or Stacy or Adam?
I believe we'd like to. We would hope it would be, Cyrus, the second meeting in March. But there's we will certainly want to have a full council for the discussion, right?
Yes, I think our goal is to bring this back at the second meeting in March, but with the flexibility to allow us to go meeting in April if needed, because we just don't know how much information we need to investigate or to look at.
So that sounds like Monday, March the 21st.
That's the current goal and plan.
That's what it'd be right now.
Then I will move that we continue this to Monday, March the 21st.
I would just warn my colleagues and staff, I will be traveling the first week of April. So if it does get pushed, we're talking into the second or third week of April. If you're wanting us all around to do this, obviously. I will not be available at the first meeting in April. So we have a motion by Bludge for March 21st. Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, we have a second. As a parliamentarian, do we need to take a vote on this to continue?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
Just procedural. All right. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Gatewood.
Aye.
Councilmember Pulapati.
Yes.
Councilmember Sander.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Budge.
Yes.
Mayor Terry.
Aye. I swear, this is the only public body I've ever been a part of. I can't say all in favor, but that's all right. So with that, we'll move on to item 12.2. And we have a report on our tobacco ordinance. And I'm turning this over to Adam. Adam's busy today.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
The short version of this is that staff has been working hard on this item, and there has been significant progress made. Although we are not here before you with a final proposed ordinance, we have had staff has had productive conversations, conducted a variety of research into the issues, and of course been carefully monitoring what your surrounding jurisdictions have been doing with these issues. There have been meetings at both technical and high staff level on this topic, and we would ask therefore that you extend the existing moratorium in order to allow staff the time to complete their work on this The request is for the standard statutory extension of 10 months and 15 days, though I would expect the planning director to confirm in any brief comments she might add to mine that we would not expect this work to take anywhere close to that amount of time before we're back before you with a final proposed approach to address these issues. Darcy, would you like to supplement the comments?
Good evening, Mayor Terry and Vice Mayor Budge and City Council members. My name is Arlene Grandoson Jones, and I've been tasked to update the ordinance. So our goal really is to reconvene on March 7th and bring forth a few policy considerations that we'd like council to discuss before we go ahead and proceed with more formal regulations for the ordinance.
Questions for staff? Hearing none, is there any public comment on this item?
The city clerk's office has not received any public comment on this item via email or by speaker card, and I do not see any hands that are raised via Zoom or telephone.
Okay. Colleagues, how would you like to proceed? I can entertain a motion to adopt the staff recommendation.
So moved.
I have a motion by Gatewood,
So seconded.
seconded by Councilmember Pulapati. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Pulapati,
Yes.
Councilmember Sander,
Aye.
Councilmember Gatewood,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Budge,
Yes.
Mayor Terry.
Aye. Item is adopted. Moving on to item 12.3, appointment of real property negotiators. Looks like that's going to be 3 of you. Do we have any public comment on this item?
The city clerk's office has not received any public comment on this item. And I do not see any hands that are raised via Zoom.
Okay. With that, I'll entertain a motion. Someone save me.
So moved.
Motion by Gatewood, second by, was that Linda?
Yeah.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Gatewood,
Aye.
Councilmember Pulapati,
Yes.
Councilmember Sander, Councilmember.
David, we didn't hear you. I heard an aye that time.
Aye.
Okay, yep, we got you. Okay.
Vice Mayor Budge,
Yes.
Mayor Terry.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, request for future agenda items. I'm just gonna run by the things I heard tonight.
This meeting is being recorded.
I think unanimously, we would like staff to work with the community in bringing us a resolution against Black racism in our city. And then we also would like to have an agenda item very soon about safety in the parkway in general, and maybe even an update on homelessness and our HOT team. Did I miss anything on future agenda items? Anything else? Okay. So with that, we're going to adjourn to closed session, and we have some in memoriams to mention at this point. Let me bring them up.
Oh, Donald, we did do the thing for FISA, that as well, right? That's part of that?
The resolution against racism?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the first thing I said.
Okay, good.
Okay. Hang on. Our city clerk was nice enough to send me, I thought, the names, but maybe that's not who did it.
You need some help.
I thought Stacy, oh, there they are. I'm sorry. Our city clerk was very organized and sent me a text message that I couldn't find per se. So tonight we will be adjourning in the memory of Gail Halverson, Bill Meehan, And thank you, Linda, for bringing that up. I've actually known Bill for a long time and knew him when he first got into politics. And our and the tragic loss of Emma Rourke. And with that, we will adjourn to closed session, and we'll be back at some point to report out. Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening.